Excellent. Welcome to June's Expert Wellness Series. Today we have Cordelia. She's going to talk to us about hormones and why they're out of balance. I'm just going to go ahead and hand it over to you, Cordelia, and let you do your thing.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Laura. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Before we get started, I'd love to know how many of you have ever struggled with things like fatigue, weight gain, anxiety, low libido, mood swings, or simply just not feeling like yourself. Raise your hand. And thank you. And keep your hand up if you've ever wondered whether your hormones might be part of that problem. All right, great. Today we're going to talk about why your hormones may feel out of balance and why simply replacing what's low doesn't always address what's driving the real problem in the first place. So congratulations on showing up and thank you all for being here. I know your time is valuable, and my promise is to you is that in this next hour, you're going to gain a deeper understanding of some of the hidden root causes behind your hormonal symptoms and why simply replacing hormones doesn't always solve the problem. My goal today is to help you connect those dots because hormones don't exist in isolation. They respond to other things going on in the body and so much more. And when we understand those connections, we can finally start addressing the root causes instead of just managing symptoms. And before we get started, I'd love for you to say hello in the chat. Please tell us your name, where you're joining from. And I'd also love to know what's your biggest hormone related struggle right now? Is it fatigue, weight gain, maybe poor sleep, brain fog, mood swings, or perhaps low libido or something else? Go ahead and add your name, where you're from, and why you're here in the chat so I can make sure to address those things. And so you're likely here because you want more energy, less sleep, pain, more mental clarity and answers. But right now, you might be feeling exhausted, inflamed, frustrated, or wondering why your body isn't responding the way it used to. And if that's you, I just want you to know that you're not alone and I see you. And hopefully by the end of today's presentation, you'll start to see your symptoms in a completely different way. Let me just see who's in the chat here. We've got Pam in Santa Cruz, mood swings. Yes, Marjorie in Agora Hills, HRT solved a lot of problems. Now wondering what can be improved even more. Great. Lisa Feiner from New Rochelle, New York. Extra fat, some fatigue. Laura from California, Amsterdam, sleep and fatigue. Hello. And Carrie from Santa Cruz, acupuncturist, here to learn. Love it. Thank you all for sharing. I appreciate you guys sharing with the group because I'm sure a lot of us can relate. And so let me introduce myself. My name is Cordelia Sidijaya, founder of Core Coaching. I'm a holistic gut health specialist, registered nurse, holistic health and mindset coach, as well as a longevity practitioner. And I help people regain their energy, naturally balance their hormones, get off of medications, and say goodbye to the pain and symptoms that they've been carrying for years. But let me tell you, I wasn't always on this side of health. Let me just see here. So I know firsthand what it's like to sit where you're sitting. Despite working in healthcare, I found myself struggling with my own health. Many years ago, I was doing prerequisites in nursing school when I got diagnosed with Graves' disease and hospitalized with a life-threatening condition called a thyroid storm. I couldn't sleep. I was anxious and moody, had weight issues, heat intolerance, palpitations, severe fatigue, and my hormones were so imbalanced that on top of being put on thyroid medications and blood pressure medications, I had to be closely monitored by an endocrinologist and repeat labs every month just to try to avoid surgery. My body wasn't functioning the way it should. And later on in life, I also got diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is another autoimmune thyroid condition that affected my hormones and metabolism in different ways. I quickly realized that simply managing symptoms wasn't giving me the answers that I was looking for. But luckily, I discovered functional and lifestyle medicine, which through the process of epigenetics allowed me to turn off those autoimmune genes from expressing itself and have the ability to thrive today without any medications or supplements. So, gut health, detoxification, nutrition, functional medicine, lifestyle medicine, and root cause healing all changed my life and eventually became the foundation of the work that I do now with my clients. Now, let me share with you a secret to hormone health. Secret number one, hormones are the body's chemical messengers. They're not the root cause. They're produced primarily by your endocrine glands in order to regulate your vital bodily functions. Now, most people assume hormones themselves are the problem, but the hormones are often responding to something deeper. You can think of them like your check engine light going on in your car. The light isn't the problem, it's just alerting you that something underneath the hood needs attention. And the question isn't always what's wrong with my hormones. The better question is, why are my hormones struggling in the first place? Now, many patients are doing all the right things. They're optimizing as best they can. They're on HRT, they're on a clean diet, they're doing regular exercise, yet they're still experiencing fatigue, brain fog, weight resistance, mood dysregulation. And the reason why is conventional hormone medicine treats the number, but not the body system. True endocrine health requires mapping those upstream drivers that labs rarely capture. So let me ask you guys this. How many of you have experienced at least one of these symptoms you see on your screen? If so, also put a one in the chat. Um, how many of you have experienced three or more? If you've experienced three or more, maybe put the number of symptoms that you see here on your screen. If you've experienced three or more, put that number in the chat. Let's see here. We've got some high numbers here. We've got ones and threes. We got a four. Yeah, so we've got quite a, because often people are reacting to their symptoms and they're trying to suppress them instead of wondering what's causing them in the first place. So it's really common to have multiple symptoms because it's not just a local issue going on, but oftentimes we could be reaching for that melatonin for the sleep disturbances, or maybe taking some anti-anxiety medication, or perhaps we're grabbing the coffee because we have brain fog, or we're doing maybe topical estrogen for that dryness. Secret number two, hormone imbalance is actually a whole body problem. It's not just a hormone problem. When we focus only on hormones, we're often going to miss the body systems that are driving those imbalances in the first place. So when one hormone gets out of balance, it can quickly throw off the rest because hormones communicate through a continuous feedback loop, meaning one spike or one drop in one hormone often triggers a chain reaction in your other hormones. And that's why we have to look at the whole picture. Now, here are the top 10 causes of hormonal imbalance. And the truth is, it's usually not just one cause. Most people have several of these things occurring simultaneously. And now, before we dive in today's content, I'd love to share a couple of real client success stories so that you can see what's possible, but also so that you can know that you're in the right place. Because the information I'm about to share isn't just theory. These are the same root cause principles that have helped my clients transform their health, regain their energy, and finally feel like themselves again. So this is Tara. Tara was suffering with bloating and heartburn, but low energy, chronic anxiety, and she was struggling to lose weight. And after working with me and addressing the root causes, Tara's symptoms disappeared. She lost weight, she regained energy, she diminished her anxiety, and she gained confidence in her body. And this is Erin, another past client of mine. Erin was struggling with chronic bloating and constipation, but more so poor sleep, depression, and fatigue. And after addressing his gut, not only did the digestive issues go away, he finally lost that stubborn weight. He improved his sleep, his energy, but best of all, he got off of his antidepressants and he told me that he feels younger. He feels 20 years younger. So just like me, Erin and Tara weren't broken. They just needed the right plan. And as you can see, there is a path forward. And by the end of this workshop, you'll know exactly what that looks like. I encourage you to be fully engaged and take notes. And here's what we're going to cover in today's masterclass. We're going to talk about the top 10 causes of hormonal imbalance. We're going to talk about what HRT doesn't address and some strategies to balance your hormones naturally and a proven way to finally feel good in your body again. I'll make sure that I make time for a Q&A section at the end so that I can address all of your questions and concerns. And if you stick with me until the end, I'll be offering an incredible opportunity that I'm excited to share with you. So let's dive in. Chronic stress. Chronic stress is the #1 hormone disruptor. Now, how many people would consider themselves stressed most days? Raise your hand. All right. Stress is probably the most overlooked hormone disruptor I see. When your body perceives stress, it produces a hormone called cortisol. And cortisol impacts your entire hormonal system. That chronic stress will hijack your HPA axis and trigger what's called the pregnenolone steal, which diverts hormone precursors away from making your sex hormones. Whenever I say sex hormones today, I'm talking about especially things like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So that pregnenolone steal from the cortisol is going to steal the precursors from making your sex hormones so that it can then produce and focus on producing cortisol. And over time, this depletes your progesterone, your DHEA, and that DHEA is critical for testosterone and estrogen production and suppresses thyroid hormones, affecting your ability to burn fat or have energy, regardless of any exogenous replacement. So exogenous replacement is anything you're taking outside of the body. So regardless of any hormone replacement, it's going to still affect your other hormones and your ability to burn fat or have energy. Also, that cortisol dysregulation will then disrupt your sleep, your immunity, and your metabolism. And then cortisol will also increase insulin. And that chronic cortisol can affect your hormone receptors, which then don't allow for the hormone messages to get into the cell and function properly. And stress isn't the only hormone thief. Insulin is actually one of the most powerful hormones in the body because when blood sugar is constantly elevated from eating processed foods, sugar, frequent snacking, stress, poor sleep, the body can then become resistant to insulin. Here's a fun fact. You can actually have a normal A1C and still have some sort of insulin resistance that's not yet detectable in Western medicine labs. That high blood sugar is going to accelerate aging. It fuels inflammation, and then it disrupts every hormone system in your body, triggering a hormonal cascade. So this can contribute to weight gain, especially that belly fat, cravings, fatigue, inflammation, and oxidative stress. It can also, high blood sugar can also contribute to PCOS, hormone imbalance, decreased libido, affect your sleep, maybe cause infertility, interfere with that energy metabolism, and disrupt your sex hormones. Again, your progesterone, testosterone, and estrogen, and also affect your thyroid hormones. So one question I ask my clients is, do you have that crash around 2 or 3 in the afternoon? That's often one of the first clues that your blood sugar regulation might need some attention. Anyone here ever wake up exhausted even after a full night's sleep? Yeah, okay. So during sleep is where your hormones are made. Hormones are supposed to be regulated and reset during your sleep, and sleep is where much of our repair and recovery occurs. So poor sleep can then increase that cortisol, worsen that insulin resistance, and increase your cravings, negatively affecting your reproductive hormones. You can't out supplement poor sleep. Sleep is one of the foundations of hormone health. And in fact, just one night of poor sleep can lower testosterone, increase cortisol, and decrease your melatonin. Sleep disturbances can also affect the production of growth hormones, which then impair your tissue repair, your body composition, and your metabolic recovery. Sleep is where your cortisol is supposed to reset, like I said. Therefore, that sleep deprivation will elevate your evening cortisol, depleting your sex hormones over time. So just one night of poor sleep reduces insulin sensitivity by 25%, driving inflammation and hormonal chaos. And disrupted circadian rhythm alters your estrogen metabolism, your melatonin production, and can affect your breast tissue health. Now let's talk about excess body fat. Now this can be a sensitive topic, so I want to approach this with compassion. Most people are told they have hormone issues because they're overweight. And in reality, it's often a two-way street because hormones can contribute to weight gain and excess body fat can contribute to hormone imbalance. Fat tissue isn't just storage, it's metabolically and hormonally active. That fat tissue produces inflammatory compounds and can affect your testosterone and your estrogen levels. It can increase insulin and increase inflammation. And this is why many people find themselves stuck in a frustrating cycle where hormone symptoms and weight gain seem to feed each other, which it does. Now, medications, all medications can deplete essential nutrients. And as a nurse, this is something I wish more people knew because many or almost all commonly prescribed medications, including HRT, can deplete the essential nutrients the body needs to function optimally. So all medications will deplete essential nutrients, but I'm going to just use a couple. For example, birth control pills will deplete your magnesium, all B vitamins, natural progesterone, and selenium. And this can shut down ovulation, radically throwing your hormones out of balance, decrease libido, cause an imbalance to your gut microbiome, and increase your chances of hypothyroidism and candida or yeast overgrowth. And antidepressant medications, those can decrease your melatonin, your magnesium, deplete your serotonin, and affect your thyroid and decrease your libido. And then antibiotics. Antibiotics impairs your estrogen metabolism. It impairs your liver detoxification. It causes leaky gut, and it can affect your thyroid hormones. So as you can see, all medications deplete your essential nutrients. And when nutrients become depleted over time, the body can struggle to produce any hormones. It can also struggle to detoxify efficiently and struggle to maintain healthy energy levels. And this is one reason why I always review medications when working with clients. Now let's talk about gut health. Over 70% of your hormones are created in your gut, as well as 95% of your serotonin. And besides serotonin, the gut produces and metabolizes estrogen and thyroid hormones. And any kind of gut dysbiosis can disrupt this delicate system. More than 70% of the immune system is created in your gut, and many transmitters are produced in the gut. And your gut microbiome helps regulate inflammation and influences your hormone metabolism. Now, you might have heard of something called the estrobolome. The estrobolome refers to bacteria in your gut that helps metabolize and eliminate your estrogen, that excess estrogen. So, when the gut is unhealthy, estrogen can then be improperly recycled and then recirculated back into the body rather than getting eliminated. And this can then contribute to hormone imbalance. So things such as a low microbial diversity, that low microbial diversity in your gut microbiome can directly drive that estrogen dominance, regardless of your blood serum hormone levels. In my practice, gut dysfunction is one of the most common missing links to why people don't feel their best self. Now let's talk about toxins. Today, we're exposed to thousands of chemicals that previous generations never encountered. And these toxins, there's over 10,000 or more toxins, but these can be found in plastics, pesticides, personal care products, cleaning supplies, air pollutions. And these toxins act as xenohormones. Xenohormones are kind of like your imposter hormones. These toxins can also act as endocrine disruptors or neurotoxins, meaning they can interfere with your hormone signaling. Some toxins will mimic hormones, others block hormones, and all of them will increase the body's toxic burden load. And so the goal isn't perfection, it's reducing exposure where possible and supporting the body's ability to detoxify. So, like I said, there's over 10,000 toxins out there, but I'm just going to talk about a couple here. BPA and phthalates, you probably have heard of, can affect estrogenic activity. It's linked to PCOS and endometriosis, and also disrupt your thyroid. Parabens and PFAS, they accumulate in that adipose fat tissue. They act as anti-androgens, which is your male hormones, and thyroid antagonists. And then heavy metals such as mercury, lead, and arsenic can displace zinc and selenium in your body. And those two minerals are critical for thyroid cofactors. And now let's talk about nutrient deficiencies. Now, our bodies require vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and healthy fats to manufacture hormones and properly send those signals to your hormone glands. You cannot build hormones out of nothing. Yet many people today, they're running low in things like magnesium, zinc, selenium, B vitamins, vitamin D. And then the hormone synthesis, conversion, and receptor signaling, they're enzyme dependent processes. And without those key micronutrient cofactors, even perfectly dosed HRT cannot, even with perfectly dosed HRT, clients still cannot function optimally. So even people eating what appears to be a healthy diet may have deficiencies because of stress, gut dysfunction, medications, or poor absorption, because sometimes the body simply doesn't have the raw materials it needs in order to function. So, for example, low fiber can reduce your estrogen excretion via stool. That's a critical elimination route for estrogen. Low vitamin D supports your progesterone synthesis and regulates your immune tolerance. So low vitamin D can affect that. and then zinc, which is essential for that thyroid conversion and your sex hormone binding globulins, especially testosterone, and magnesium required for over 300 enzymatic processes in your body. Magnesium is required for something called methylation. It's required for the creation of DHEA and cortisol. Again, DHEA is required to make those sex hormones. And also magnesium is also required for clearing any excess estrogen. And then selenium and iodine. Selenium and iodine deficiency can contribute to that T4 to T3 conversion for your thyroid hormone receptor sensitivity to not function properly. Now, let's talk about detoxification, because one of the biggest misconceptions about hormones is that making hormones is the only thing that matters. But the body must also be able to eliminate used and old hormones. And when these detox pathways, when they become sluggish, your hormones then recirculate in your body, triggering severe symptoms like PMS, weight gain, and fatigue. So I want you to think of it this way. If your sink is running, but the drain is clogged, eventually you're going to have a problem. And so those detoxification pathways help the process to remove hormones, toxins, and metabolic waste. And then methylation is one of the processes that help support these pathways. So when detoxification isn't working efficiently, hormone metabolites can then accumulate and contribute to your symptoms. And then estrogen must be conjugated and eliminated through something called phase 1 and phase 2 liver pathways. So that impaired methylation, like for example, if you have the MTHFR gene or the COMP gene, that can drive the oxidative stress, the estrogen dominance, and that cancer risk. That's why supplementing without testing things like your methylation status, that can then further worsen that imbalance. And finally, let's talk about the 10th biggest cause of hormone imbalance, and that's inflammation and oxidative stress. So chronic inflammation will silently disrupt endocrine signaling, blocking receptor sites and impairing that hormone production. Inflammation is often the most common thread connecting many of the issues that we just discussed today. For example, stress increases inflammation, poor sleep increases inflammation, gut dysfunction increases inflammation, insulin resistance increases inflammation, toxins increase inflammation. And over time, that chronic inflammation can interfere with hormone signaling and contribute to your fatigue, pain, weight gain, and disease. And the body functions best when inflammation is balanced and not when it's constantly fighting fires. So let's talk about hormone replacement therapy, or HRT. Now, as a nurse, I want to be very clear. Hormone replacement therapy can absolutely be helpful for the right person. It can help improve symptoms. It can improve quality of life. It can support bone health and cardiovascular health in appropriate patients. But HRT should not be the first line of defense, because replacing hormones without resolving the upstream dysfunction can then mask the underlying problems that are driving your symptoms in the first place. HRT doesn't heal the gut. It doesn't fix insulin resistance. It doesn't remove toxins. HRT doesn't improve sleep. It doesn't correct the nutrient deficiencies, and it doesn't automatically regulate your chronic stress. So HRT may be part of the solution, but for many people, it's not the entire solution. And this is why I often have clients coming to me saying, I'm on HRT, but I still don't feel like myself. Because that lasting resolution requires mapping and resolving those upstream drivers and those underlying causes. So you might be thinking, where do I start? At this point, you might be wondering, this all makes sense, but where do I even begin? The good news is that hormone health doesn't have to start with expensive testing, dozens of supplements, or a complete life overhaul. Um, so we're going to talk about 5 things that you guys can do. So one thing you can do is improve your blood sugar levels naturally. Improving your blood sugar levels naturally centers around a low glycemic diet, movement, and lifestyle, and prioritizing these core habits for lasting control. So things like adopting a plate method, filling your plate with mostly vegetables, proteins, and healthy fats. Walking after meals can absolutely help your blood sugar balance. So, just light physical activity like a 10 to 15-minute brisk walk within 30 to 60 minutes of eating can help your excess glucose and help with those post-meal sugar spikes. You can prioritize strength training. Building muscle through resistance exercises fights your insulin resistance by helping your body utilize that glucose for energy. You can stay hydrated because drinking that water can help your blood circulate properly, assisting your kidneys flushing out that excess sugar through your urine. And then managing sleep and stress, because chronic sleep deprivation and high stress will elevate your cortisol, like we said, and then will drive up your insulin and your blood sugar. So try to aim for 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep. So what's the second thing you guys can do to improve um, your hormones naturally? So nervous system regulation, such as regular physical walking, because walking can just lower your stress response. I did a whole talk on stress for the chamber, so I think you guys can look that talk up in detail. But things like regular physical activity, like walking, maybe some breath work, having good boundaries in your life can help with that, managing your stress, and doing things that improve joy in your life. You can also limit caffeine and alcohol and try to utilize calming scents like lavender or lemon balm, like that aromatherapy. The essential oils has been clinically shown to lower cortisol and induce a calming state. And then you can try things like calming teas like drinking herbal teas like chamomile, lemon balm, ashwagandha. Those can all soothe the nervous system and help reduce restless feelings. Because sometimes the most healing thing you can do isn't just another supplement. And then improve your sleep hygiene. We want to strive for a consistent 8-hour sleep schedule. You want to reduce your blue light, especially before bedtime and after you wake up first thing in the morning as well. You can also get that morning sunlight first thing. That can help your natural melatonin production. You can do things like take a magnesium supplement before bed, or use a weighted blanket or exercise. Those can all improve your sleep hygiene. So how many people here wake up between 2 and 4 a.m.? Anybody here? Yeah. So those are just some things that you guys can work on, is just improving your sleep hygiene, but also that blood sugar. Like we said, the blood sugar and the stress can affect and contribute to you waking up between 2 and 4 a.m. And then another thing you can do to help naturally balance your hormones is feed your gut with the proper things like non-starchy vegetables, protein, healthy fats, fiber, whole foods, good hydration, eating good fermented foods, and especially reducing inflammatory foods. You can take some herbs, vitamins, minerals. Now, you can't build healthy hormones in an unhealthy gut. So make sure you're getting enough magnesium, B vitamins, vitamin D, zinc, selenium, phytonutrients, antioxidants. And then you can also look up a thing called seed cycling. That's another way that people naturally balance your hormones. So another way that you can you can naturally balance your hormones is to reduce your toxic burden. And reducing toxic burden includes looking at your personal care products, your cleaning products, things like that. Make sure you're eating organic. Make sure you're drinking good quality water that doesn't have hormones in it. Make sure you're um, uh, using glass instead of plastic. And the goal here is progress over perfection. And these are just some foundational principles that benefit almost everyone. But as you've seen tonight, hormone imbalance isn't a one size fits all. So that leads me to secret number 3. The best hormone protocol is often the one designed specifically for you and your unique body, because two people can have identical symptoms and completely different root causes. Like one of you guys might need gut support, while another one needs blood sugar support. Another one might need stress reduction, and one might actually benefit from HRT. Excuse me. Most people don't just have one issue, they have several, and that's why cookie cutter approaches often fail. So the question isn't what's worked for your friend, the question is what's driving your symptoms. And the truth is I've only scratched the surface of what there is to know about hormones in the short time we've had together today. And there's so much more that I could share, like mindset, tools, strategies, and insights to help you truly heal and thrive. So if it's okay with you, I'd love to share a handful of my client success stories so that you can see what's possible for you when you commit to healing the root cause instead of just managing your symptoms. This is one of my past clients, Lorena. On the left, she's actually wearing makeup, and on the right, she's not. Lorena was struggling with sleep issues, anxiety, hair loss, joint pain, fatigue, hormonal changes, and a slowing metabolism. And then after working with me, she regained her energy, improved her sleep, her focus. You can see her skin and hair completely transformed, and her joint pain vanished. And she even lost inches without even trying. This is Lucy. Lucy turned 50 when she was working with me. She was dealing with the horrible effects of menopause. Lucy was struggling with low energy, aches, pains, night sweats, digestive issues, and hormonal dysregulation. And then after working with me, she felt energized. She's now back to guiding whale watching tours. Her digestion and bloating improved. You can see her skin became clearer. Her body felt more toned. She emotionally feels more relaxed with less anxiety and stress, and her sleep improved. But Lucy told me that the effects of working with me was much more effective than taking HRT medications. And then this is Oriana. She got to improve her low energy and her mood swings. She improved her joint health, and now she feels more energetic with a balanced, stabilized mood, but she improved her overall well-being. And this is Monique. After working with me, she regained her energy, she reduced her inflammation, she got rid of her allergies, and she lost 17 pounds. So if today's masterclass opened your eyes to the deeper connection behind your symptoms and you're done trying to figure it all alone, then this next step is for you. Now, most doctor visits last just 15 to 20 minutes. You'll wait weeks for your appointment. You're going to sit in a crowded room and maybe walk out feeling dismissed with a prescription and no real answers. But what if instead you had 90 full minutes with someone who actually listens and helps you connect those dots? So I'm offering a deep 90-minute one-on-one initial consult for attendees of this webinar. And what's included is a review of your most recent labs, a comprehensive health history, a supplement and medication overview, and a customized root cause action plan built for your body, your life, and your healing goals. So no more guessing, no more confusion, just clarity, confidence, and an expert guided path forward from the comfort of your own home. No driving, no waiting room, no white coats, just your story finally being heard and a strategy that you can actually feel good about. Now, this isn't just a cookie cutter protocol. This is real personalized care rooted in experience, science, and compassion, because true healing requires time, context, and personalized care. So you can scan the QR code on your screen right now to grab your session. And I'm going to skip a couple of slides here because of time. But so let's see here. So this session is for, and if you see yourself in any of these, like maybe you've tried different diets and supplements, or perhaps you're told your labs are normal. Maybe fatigue, brain fog, or hormone imbalances are holding you back. So if you're ready for clarity and a root cause approach and a personalized plan that actually fits your body and your life, this session is for you. And I'm going to show you the QR code. There's just quick, easy steps. You just scan the code, you fill out a quick intake form, you choose a time, you submit payment, and then you upload your labs, and then we get to meet. So before we wrap up, I always love ending my webinar with this powerful quote, and that's healing is the end of conflict with yourself, because I want you to know that you don't have to keep fighting your body. Your body is designed to heal. It just needs the right environment. And this is your chance to take back your health. So I'd love to just thank you so much for your time today. I'd love to make 2026 your healthiest year yet, the rest of it. And let's open it up for a few questions on anything that I covered today. And I'm just going to pop up my info here. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
I do. Cordelia, you mentioned something under Feed Your Gut, the seed cycle?
Seeds, yeah, seed cycling. Yeah,
Seed
you can look
cycling.
that up. Seed cycling. Yeah, it's a way of eating certain seeds during different phases of your like your system, and so it can help naturally balance hormones based on where you are.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
you're welcome. Anybody else have any questions?
Well, I do, but this is the first time I find you guys on Facebook, and I'm just wondering, is this like to promote someone's business or to help each other, whatever is working out for you? What is this?
Let me answer that for you, Esperanza, real quick. So
Mm-hmm.
we're the Holistic Chamber of Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
So we are made up of professionals who are in the wellness industry, and we often do free workshops, seminars, classes for the community. So we are. This is through the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. We have different speakers, and yes, they do talk about a particular issue and provide information, but they're also in business to support people further on their journey if, someone wishes to continue working with them.
And like, how do I get in contact to see if I can be a member of the chamber?
If you put your email in the chat, I will reach out to you.
Okay, my email in the chat. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for asking.
Anybody else have any questions on anything I talked about today?
Yes, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm Yvonne. I
Hey,
was
Yvonne.
I'm listening to you, and I will reach out to you. I'm in the process of getting blood work done, so I have the most current one. But my question is, it occurred to me as something I could do today. I've been having a multivitamin that was recommended to me that's for women, like a woman older after a certain age to take. Is that something that I could start doing without that might help? Because you're saying like sometimes we're depleted in, say, magnesium or vitamin D, and I don't know at this point because you haven't looked at any work. Until I see you, is that multivitamin a good idea to take?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I don't believe in just one supplement for everybody. That's why I do believe in a personalized approach. Also, I'd want to know where you're sourcing your vitamins because there's a lot of companies out there where you think you're maybe taking magnesium, but it's really filled with synthetics and fillers, and it's maybe got like 5% or maybe even
Yeah.
0%
Yeah,
magnesium.
no, that's
So,
valid.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a, the only reason I bought it because it was not cheap is because these two ladies have been in the wellness industry and in pharma, and it's what they take for themselves, and they appear to do as much research as you do. But I actually not the type that ever looks into any of those details. I get people like you who do extensive research to tell me what I should take. So I will be contacting you. Thank you for today. It was very informative.
Great. You're welcome. Thank you for joining. And another thing I just want to say is if your gut is out of balance and you're not able to properly absorb any nutrients, then you could be
Yeah.
taking all the supplements
Yeah.
and it's just like throwing spaghetti on the wall to
Yeah.
see what sticks.
So when I heard that it was my cue to, because I've been wanting to do this gut cleanse. Again, it was another homeo, how do I say, a doctor that's in like Eastern medicine had given me to do organ cleanse. And I've done like a recent one where it was liver, something else, but it wasn't my gut. There's one specific for gut by the same company he recommended. So I'm in the process of doing that too. Yes, that was
Yeah. Yeah. And you brought up an important thing I see all the time, Yvonne. I see a lot of people going straight to detox and trying to balance their hormones when there's a pathway, a roadmap to true health. And there's so many things that should be addressed before you even get to hormones and detoxification, because you can just actually make your body worse if you're not addressing those upstream drivers like we were talking about,
Yeah.
things like your detoxification pathways and your blood sugar and your gut health and your absorption, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel the hormone, I think it was progesterone for prescription that I was given a few months ago after having a minor cervical surgery by my doctor, but she didn't really tell me what it was based on, other than it would help me sleep better, which I don't have that much trouble sleeping. So I thought I'd do all of this before actually taking that prescription. So yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope to see you during a strategy session.
Yeah.
We could
Yeah.
streamline everything. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm also curious, where is this Chamber of Commerce located? Where are you guys? What city? Because I have one that I
Can I ask a question before we end? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Okay.
Well, hold on. We're global. We're an online organization.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
May I ask a question regarding as far as hormonal, especially if you are in menopause, is there a separate type of blood work that you need in order to determine what your menopausal symptoms are in accordance with what you provide?
Great question, Sharon. So yeah, there's some really good tests out there that are more in the functional space, but at the same time, you can do all this blood work and it's still not showing, it's just showing what's in your blood and it's not showing you what's happening on a cellular level. Like, for example, you can have normal amounts or even high amounts of B vitamins, but it's not actually getting absorbed into your cells because so we focus more on optimizing the health on a cellular level.
Cordelia, can I just ask,
you.
what do you think is the best way to determine how healthy your gut is? What do you usually do in your practice?
Yeah, so I did a whole talk on gut health. I think you might be able to look that up in the library for the chamber as well. But there's so many factors, and a lot of people don't associate things like anxiety or joint pain or trouble sleeping. They could have absolutely no typical gut symptoms, like they could have no bloating or constipation and things like that, but they have all these other issues like brain fog and all the things I just mentioned, and they actually have a gut issue. And that's why I focus my practice on gut health, because pretty much all disease begins in the gut. Like we said, over 70% of your hormones and your immune system all is started in
But
your
like,
gut.
do you do like a stool sample, or like how do you analyze the health of the gut other
Yeah.
than just symptomatically?
Yeah, it's that detailed health history and is how I
Got it.
know. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
We have 2 minutes.
I
And
do. What about probiotics? Do you ever recommend them? Do you find there's any kind of mix that actually creates the right population?
Yeah, probiotics can be really good. There are certain conditions where you don't want to take probiotics, and probiotics can make it worse, but you also want to diversify your microbiome. So you want to avoid something called monoculturing. So you don't want to be taking the same probiotic. You don't want to be drinking the same kombucha for life. You want to diversify as much as you can.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 1 more minute for questions. Anybody have any questions? I did drop the link in the chat here to book that initial strategy session, and I'll drop it one more time. Anybody else have any questions?
I just have one really quick one, Cordelia. Thank you so much again for the presentation. Awesome content. The price that was listed there, is that just for the initial introduction, or is that like this kind of the following sessions too, or is that just the initial?
Yeah, that's for an initial 90-minute consultation where we look at a 4-page detailed health history, the supplements and medications you're on. I can look at any labs that you're taking, and I look at all that before our session so that we can tailor your session just to you.
Gotcha. And then any subsequent sessions would be a different, like,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, that's a good starting point because I like to customize my programs based on my clients' needs.
Got it. Thank you, Cordelia.
Yeah, you're welcome.
all right, I also put in a link if anybody who's a guest, we had some questions about membership and who we are. There is a link there where you can book a complimentary question and answer call with one of us. We can talk about the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, who we are, and the benefits. So if you had some of those questions, please feel free to book a complimentary call. Thank you so much, Cordelia, for being here and sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you so much for those of you who attended live and participated in the conversation. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, everyone. Hope to
All right.
support you.
Have a great rest of your day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.